Come manifest your best life with 190 Vision.
Have you heard of spirit guides
Yes, I have.
or a spiritual team?
Yes, I have.
Well, I'm glad you have. I'm asking the viewers who are watching this recording here.
Oh, okay.
But of course, you're answering, so we'll go with you. All right. So, what are spirit guides and spiritual teams?
Before we get to that, had you heard of spirit guides or spirit team? Since
I
you were asking the audience,
I have, but
no. Had
I
you
think
heard of it before you met myself?
before meeting you, no, that's what I was about to say. No.
Okay, so let's go from there.
Okay.
And you didn't always know me, just to let you know.
It feels like it, but yes. Okay.
So go ahead from before you knew me. How about that? In the physical.
Well, before I knew you, I grew up as a Catholic, and I just would pray and ask for help from angels and from saints and from God.
All right. So now you talk about saints, right?
Yep.
So let's spend a little bit of time on that here. What's a saint? Now, of course, I know, but just in case there are people that are not Catholic or are not familiar with saints, we want to make sure that they know what a saint is and where that is headed.
Okay. A saint, it's a human being like yourself or myself who lived what was considered a holy or good life. Then they died. This is the part that's important. After they died, people who knew this person would pray to them for help, and miracles would take place. And what is a miracle? Something that no one can explain, like an individual who had a disease for years is suddenly cured, or a situation, someone, was a drastic situation that there was like no hope left for it, was resolved. So because many individuals experience these miracles by praying to this dead individual, then the Catholic Church takes them through this long process, and eventually, after many years, they say, okay, well, this person is a saint because they can provide miracles from heaven where they are.
Hmm, I like that explanation. So, who, if you were to give an example of a saint, who would you give?
um, from my own experience, I grew up praying to St. Anthony and St. Jude because they would help me find lost things or things I misplaced.
Do you care to give us some examples?
Okay, well, it started when I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I lost some money. Didn't know where it was because I always stuck it in the same place. But when I went to go get it, it wasn't there. So I told my mom. My mom said, well, pray to St. Anthony or to St. Jude. Well, one of them will help you find it. So I just prayed to both of them. And a few days later, I found the money. Well, the next time I misplaced something, I prayed to them again, and I found what I was looking for. And so this just continued. It became a habit of mine, and it went from being days to hours of finding things, and then minutes and seconds. Like almost instantaneously, I would get answers or be pulled to a certain direction to find a missing item or thing. So that was my experience of praying to saints.
The way your story sounds, it sounds like you are either very absent-minded or you just lost things a lot.
Well, you might think that way, but I grew up in a very large family. So even though I may have put something in one spot, a sibling may have come along and moved it. And then it was considered lost or misplaced. And many times I found things out of where they should be, they were somewhere else. But I would find them.
Mm. So here's the thing, right? You prayed to these individuals, and in this case, two of them,
Mm-hmm.
St. Anthony and St. Jude.
Yes.
Now, if you don't know this, um, I taught at a Lutheran school,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that they don't believe in saints. Well, they must believe in saints because they name some of the churches like St. Paul and stuff like that. Now that I think about it.
I think it's mainly after the disciples or apostles, whatever they are, that followed Jesus.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I just thought about that. They have like Saint Michael, and all the saints there. Anyway, but they don't believe in the only being you should pray to is God. That's what they believe.
Mhm.
There should be no intermediary, right, between you and God. So now, if you were to go and tell them that you pray to Saint Jude, and there was no disciple or apostle named Jude, right? Nor
Okay.
Saint Anthony. There was not an Anthony either, not that I know of. Um, they probably look at you like you're doing something really wrong. So my question becomes this: if you think about this, you're praying to this so-called Saint Jude or this so-called Saint Anthony, and I say so-called because according to the Lutherans and other people out there, there are many people, by the way, not just the Lutherans, that believe that it should just be you and God, no
Mhm.
intermediate at all, right? That's just what they believe.
Right.
And they refuse to accept anything else. So if we, I'm taking it from their viewpoint, right? So
Mhm.
here you are, you're saying, well, I prayed to Saint Jude and Saint Anthony, and I found what I was looking for, what I lost. Could that be coincidence?
To them, possibly.
Oh, but not to you.
Not to me,
Why is that?
because I would have already searched for whatever it was that I was looking for. And I only prayed when I couldn't find it and I was giving up. I'm like, okay, this is just beyond me now. I need to get the answer.
Now, me being a skeptic, I could also say, well, sometimes we just we're not in the right place, or we're looking right at it, but we don't see it. And I'm sure you've seen that happen with people, right?
Hmm.
It happens to me all the time. You always tell me about that. That is it possible that the thing was right there, but because you're in a panic, you just overlooked it? That's possible, right?
It's possible, but when I used this technique to help our son who was away at college, who couldn't find where his bicycle was locked up, um, he found it. And it's not like he misplaced his bicycle. He parked it somewhere, locked it up, but couldn't remember where he parked it. And he was walking all around campus, looking everywhere, and couldn't find it until we worked on this together. And then, bam! All of a sudden, he's like, "Oh, I found it." So
And you've done that with many individuals as well.
yes. Well, I haven't. St. Anthony and St. Jude have. They've just, contacted me for help to connect.
No, that's what I mean. No,
Oh, okay.
right. And these are individuals, you're not in the same place with them.
Right.
Like our son was in a completely different state,
Mm-hmm.
and you have individuals that are in different countries.
Yes.
When you tell them, you just tell them what to say, and then they update you and say, "Oh, I found it."
Mm-hmm.
All right. So to me, as skeptical as I might want to be, there has to be something going on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we say that there is a being, and it would be the spirit of that being because they already passed, that's responding to that request, then that's a spirit guide. See, that's a being that's there to help you. So that works.
Uh-huh.
That's what's called a spirit guide, and that's part of your spiritual team.
Got it.
Okay, so what happens is that imagine that each one of us we're born. You don't have to imagine. See, it actually happens, right? And then here we are. We're growing up, and many times we don't have answers to things. We don't know what to do. Now, they always tell us you could turn to a human being and get an answer from them. That's one way to do it, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The other way is you can turn to God or the spiritual realm and get the answer. Now, in reaching out to, let's say, St. Jude and St. Anthony, you're not skipping God, or you're not um, saying, that they're replacing God, you know that they are a part of God because all of us are created in the image of God, right?
Hmm.
All you're saying is that you recognize that they have this ability, which you don't know how to explain, that if you reach out to them, they help you. Say they help you, then why would you not take the help knowing that they're part of God? Because of the way they lived. You already know the way they lived, right?
Right.
So every individual, according to the teachings, have a group of beings that's guiding that individual in his or her life so that that individual can stay on the path to accomplish whatever the purpose is that individual has in this lifetime. So we're not on our own. A lot of people say, "Oh, I feel like I'm by myself." Actually, we're not by ourselves at all. We always have help. Sometimes we just don't. We're not sensitive enough to receive the information, the guidance that they're giving us. And that's when people normally turn to somebody else that already has that sensitivity, right? And that's
Hmm.
when they call them what? Psychics or
Medium.
medium, right?
Right. Hmm.
And the only reason why I go to these individuals is because you, as an individual, you're not sensitive enough yet to get that information yourself. Your reception is off still, you know?
Okay. But I also think part of the challenge, like what I experienced, was that I felt alone because I thought that the angels and saints would only come when I called upon them, when I addressed them and begged them to help me. Otherwise, it's like they were just here and I was down here and we were always separate. So I was always alone.
Mm. Well, that's a very good point, actually, because again, we are more familiar with the Catholic Church, so I'll talk from that perspective.
Hmm.
We're always taught in the Catholic Church that we are below, right? We're at
Yep.
the bottom and the angels are above us. Everything is above us. It's like so we always look up, like I said, look up to the heavens,
Hmm.
even though it could be that they're sideways or they might be right beside us, but that's not what we're taught.
Right.
And so then it's easy for you to think that they're far away or that even God is far away.
Hmm. Even
But
our departed loved ones, they're in possibly purgatory. Who knows? Maybe even in the further place.
uh-huh.
And so they're always distant from us. They're not around us. That's what we believed growing up. We're alone here. We have to figure this out, and we just are supposed to pray, use the Bible, use the teachings of the Catholic Church to make our way through life. But we're doing it pretty much alone.
Well, yeah, that's what we were taught. That's all I can say about that one.
But what you're
But
telling me, and what I have learned, of course, since knowing you, is that we're not alone, that they're always around us, these saints and angels and our departed loved ones. So how do we know which ones are our spirit guides, like the ones who are really guiding us, and the ones who are just kind of there to listen to us?
uh, I don't think we have any beings that just hang around to listen to us.
Well, that was an
they have
impression I had when first learning this.
no, they have better things to do than that. You know, they don't like. I've heard stories with people. I've heard stories from people where they say, "Oh, and one of the ascended masters, let's say El Moya, he was playing with my cat." El Moya doesn't have time to go play with your cat. You know, they have very important things to do. Or I heard this story one time about this one lady that said that one of the ascended masters was playing hide and seek with her. No, no, they don't have time for that. Every being that's around us is there for a reason. Okay. Now, for example, we have a guardian angel, right?
Hmm.
Well, a guardian angel is one of our spirit guides. And these are beings that are there that really care for us. They want only the best for us. All they do is focus on giving us the best advice, if you want to call it. We call it guidance, right? The
Mhm.
best advice from where they are, from what they see, to help us to accomplish the best results that we can have. Avoid, put it this way, they give us a shortcut route to get to where we're supposed to go, to accomplish what we're supposed to, meaning to avoid a lot of the heartaches, the pains, and most of the challenges. So when they guide us, they're saying, hey, if you follow this route, the challenges that you'll normally run into, you're avoiding all those. So just go this way or just do this. What's interesting about the whole thing is that from where they are, they have a vantage point because they can see a whole lot more than we can see. And that's where it becomes challenging for people because people just look at what's in front of them.
Mhm.
And if what they're receiving from their team, from their spirit guide, does not resonate with them, then they're not interested in listening to it or being even open to it because to them it makes no sense.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think about that all the time, right? And the example I give is imagine that you live in Chicago and you're going to take a flight to Texas,
Mhm.
okay? Now that flight will probably take what? About how many hours maybe? I don't know. 4 or 5
3,
hours?
4 hours.
Okay, so let's say 4 hours, right?
Mhm.
So first of all, they tell you, the pilot tells you, or the announcer, say, oh, this flight will take 4 hours. How do you know it's going to take 4 hours? What data do you have to prove that it actually will take 4 hours?
Well, they've done it before.
Uh-huh. But I'm asking you,
Oh,
how do
me?
you know? Yes, how do you know it will actually take 4 hours?
I don't. I'm trusting them.
Uh-huh. Right? Then on
Mhm.
top of that, they tell you, oh, we're going to leave here now and we'll arrive in Texas. We're going to be flying at an elevation of 25,000 feet. How do you know you're at 25,000 feet?
I don't.
Okay.
I'm trusting them.
How do you know you're going to arrive in Texas in
I
four
don't.
hours?
I'm trusting them.
Yet still, you go and you buy a ticket, pay money, buy a ticket. You sit down where they tell you to sit down, and then you're so comfortable, you're so sure that you're going to arrive that you actually take a nap, right?
Yes.
Yet still, and keep in mind that you have no clue how that's going to happen when you get to Texas. You just know that the airplane will take off and it will land. You don't know what that pilot is doing.
Mhm.
You don't even think about, well, what if this airplane malfunctions?
Now, the very first few times I flew, I did think that way. I was very nervous, and
But the point is, you stayed on the flight,
I did, and I just trusted the process.
okay?
And now I don't doubt it at all.
So if you notice, in order to go from Chicago to Texas, someone has to fly the airplane,
Mhm.
and it's not you because you don't know how to fly an airplane.
That's right.
Yet still, when it comes to spirit guides and the spiritual team, people don't trust them. They don't believe in them because they can't see them.
To watch the full episode of this video, please go to the 190 Vision channel on Roku TV or Amazon Fire. Request help by visiting the 190vision.com website. Click on the Help Me tab and submit the consent form. Join others that are on the path of manifesting their best life through the 190 Vision Facebook group. Learn more about other topics by listening to podcasts on the 190 Vision Spotify channel or by watching videos on the 190 Vision YouTube channel. Help support the 190 Vision community by clicking on the Donate button that is located at the bottom of every page on our website.